Hello, everyone. My name is Nicole Basso, and I'm talking about interdisciplinary team communication today, specifically in a school setting. My goal of this presentation is to talk about different reasons why communication is so important. Then I have interviewed several members within a multidisciplinary team, and then I'm going to connect that to the NASW Code of Ethics. I want to start off with a list of different team members that could be involved in a variety of different multidisciplinary teams, whether that's specific students in their IEP team or self-contained classrooms such as ECSE, SXI, and ASD programs. From the articles that I have read, this one article talked about why it is so important to have effective communication between team members. And I wanted to just talk to you about how when we come into a team, we have to remember that each team member comes from a different educational background. I have different educational background than you do, than a speech path, than a school psychologist, and those backgrounds change the way that we have a profession, like our lens that we look through. I have a different lens than you do when we look at problems and solutions and students. Additionally, those backgrounds change the specific interventions and strategies that we utilize. And without thinking about each person individually and the way that they look and look through each lens, then how are we as a group supposed to offer students and people an integrated treatment style? If we're using a treatment or team approach, then we should understand each of our team members as best as we can. Thinking about that, I looked at the different treatment styles of the members that I have in each of my groups. I started with my speech pathologist, occupational therapist, physical therapist, and myself as a school social worker. We all work with lower elementary. So as you will read, all of us use play-based. One of my favorite quotes is my physical therapist is functional, fun, and student-driven as possible. And I think that really hones in on what each person does and their different treatment styles. We try to be as functional as possible. That means like meet the student where they are at, what they're doing in that moment, try to tweak that towards and shape it and form it into their IEP goal. That's the best way that all of us have found to get the most child participation and make them feel like they are really a part of making those IEP goals. I then wanted to talk to each of my team members about their role as a team member, if they think it's appropriate for their strengths and for their profession. As you'll notice, a lot of people think that their team understands them. A few of them feel that this changes depending on how many buildings they are involved in. And like my speech pathologist, she just increased the number of buildings that she services in the school district. And those newer buildings, she still finds definitely don't utilize her to the full potential in a team, and that she's utilizing this as a professional development so that they can understand what a speech path is there to offer. And I will tell you, it's a lot. Additionally, myself, I have just started working in a building that hasn't had a school social worker for a while, and this has resulted in them being comfortable not utilizing that service or utilizing me to my full potential. But with me being there more frequently, that has definitely changed. After understanding if they felt like their position in our team is appropriate, I really wanted to understand if they feel supported and understood. If their team members understand what they do as a profession, because that's important. If we're going to be working together, it's important for me to understand what each of my team members do, so then I know what goals to help them increase on. The speech pathologist is one that works mainly with a general education setting, and I wanted to put her answer into this because this is important to think about the general education teachers and the way that she gets utilized the most, and how she helps them understand what she does is really involving them as much as possible for the IEP goals. She works really hard at helping them generalize these strategies into the classroom. However, she has noticed that the push from administration to work on goal progress has resulted in us not being able to focus on more than just our own specific goal. Additionally, our occupational therapist believes that the once a year meeting for our IEP is enough to understand what she does and for other people to understand what she does and communicate that to others. Our physical therapist thinks that her team supports her. Do they necessarily understand in depth what she does? No, and that's okay. She believes that not having an in-depth understanding is perfectly fine, because if it was in-depth, then her field wouldn't be specialized anymore. Lastly, our speech pathologist has a similar viewpoint. Her team understands what she does, just not how she does it, and or how to really increase goals within the classroom setting. So like generalizing what she does into the classroom setting. From that background knowledge, I wanted to see if caseloads were an issue for timing. A couple of the articles that I read mentioned how caseload sizes and how it kind of eats into timing of team members, and that this can be a hindrance to effective collaboration. I'm just going to pull up everybody's responses here. Our speech pathologist and our physical therapist stated that their high caseload size is perfect for their personality. They love to be running around and they love to be busy. However, our physical therapist did mention that other people's high caseloads affect having time to plan and collaborate with others. And then if you look at our occupational therapist and myself, we run into the fact that yes, it is manageable and we are able to plan and reflect. However, that's only a portion of our day. There are only certain times that we are able to there's only specific times that we can pull each student, and that results in a lot of back-to-back students, which hinders the amount of times that we're able to actually plan and reflect for the next coming student. And then after understanding each person's like day-to-day running, I wanted to see what they thought was the biggest hurdle to effective team collaboration. A lot of people, you will notice through this, they say time. Lack of team planning time makes team-wide conversations difficult, so collaboration most often happens within subsets of the larger team. Our special education teacher believes that we do a lot of more one-on-one instead of a whole team collaboration. Additionally, our occupational therapist states that we don't have enough time to meet more than once a month, let alone bi-weekly, because of the different timing within our day. She also mentioned that we used to have administrative support to meet quarterly to talk about specific students for an extended period of time. Our physical therapist mentioned how her SXI program meets weekly, and they talk about one student for an extended period of time. They layer on the topics so that way staff feels less overwhelmed. And so then each person feels like they got a very good knowledge base on one student, and they have noticed a massive increase in goal progress for those students that they do this with. Our speech pathologist also mentions timing. She then mentioned how being together all at once. What she means by that is how a lot of us are in different buildings. We don't get the opportunity to be as a team in one building very frequently. And because of that, a lot of things get missed. I then wanted to see if in previous roles that they were in, if there were better ways at having effective interpersonal communication. And a lot of them did mention previous roles and how they were better utilized, or they were had better communication. They were sought after for their position because they were there more frequently. Our occupational therapist mentioned how there was a team member who was in charge of coordinating all of this planning and coordinating people's schedules. And this definitely took the pressure off of team members and allowed for more collaboration time. And then our physical therapist mentioned that she works in a hospital currently, and every day they take 10 minutes and they discuss as much as they can. So every single day people are communicating and discussing what is happening. This last question was more specific to the teacher. I wanted to see how our special education teacher felt about implementing strategies that we provide for her, and if she did not feel confident in that, if she felt comfortable enough confronting team members to help with this, make this process smoother. She just mentioned that as a team, we do a great job implementing strategies and allowing her that opportunity to see it be modeled first. She learns a lot better with things being modeled for her, and we really try to make that happen. She did mention that she definitely feels comfortable seeking out advice and support from team members when she has questions or she's struggling or if the intervention just is not working. I really looked into this because teachers spend the most time with the students. They're there all of the time, and it's important for us to understand how they are feeling with the things that we're providing them. Lastly is the NASW Code of Ethics. This is the part where it kind of ties everything together. Why is this so important through a social work lens? What is all of this about? First and foremost, one of our core values is the importance of human relationships. As a social worker, we need to make sure that human relationships are centralized in that we find them very important, because without effective human relationships and successful human relationships, we are not going to get anywhere. That's what we are. We are social workers. We are there in teams to make sure people are effectively communicating together. Next, I really looked into one of our main code of ethics is responsibility to clients. We are committed to clients to provide them the most integrated treatment that we can. If we don't understand what our colleagues are doing and our other team members are doing and how they are doing it, what their goals are, then we're not providing the child as a whole an integrated treatment style. I cannot provide an increased goal progress to my students if I'm not also simultaneously helping with the speech goal, helping with the OT goal, or helping with their engagement goal from their special education teacher. And lastly, and this is the main reason I looked into this, is our ethical responsibility to clients. We have to respect them. That's why I looked into their different treatment styles, if they felt like they were being supported and if they felt comfortable in their role. And finally, interdisciplinary collaboration is an ethical responsibility for social workers. We are there to mend our team and glue them together with all that we can to make sure that we are collaborating as best as possible. So that way we can give our clients the best that we can. Thank you for listening.